Hello and welcome back to Just One More Beer.
Just one more beer.
And we're going to talk about a 36mm Datejust with a Jubilee bracelet. And that's your daily driver.
Yeah, so getting a Datejust was an interesting process for me because, like everybody else, for years and years and years, it was all about the sports models, and I've had every single sports model, at least one iteration of every sports model, except for the Milgaus. So I've had Sea Dwellers, GMT Masters, Explorers 2, Explorers, Daytonas, you name it, I've had that. And then at some stage in time, I got a vintage Datejust, but that was really because I found one which was from my year of birth. So this is from
1936.
yeah, just about then, just before the Second World War. This is the serial number puts it on the last quarter of 69 or the first quarter of 70, so within weeks of my date of birth.
Année érotique.
An erotic indeed, and I bought that. I've got the Jubilee for this, but I just put straps on this just to jazz it up a little bit, and I wore it quite a bit. But it's it's a vintage watch that's 50 years old, so it's not something that you will wear on a daily basis. But I guess when you've been used to wear 40 or 40 plus millimeters watches, and they're great for sports, at some stage I guess I wanted something a little bit more restrained, and something that was not gonna get in the way, and something that would be appropriate for almost any occasion, be it wearing it at a swimming pool, but also being able to wear it with a suit and a tie.
At a swinging party.
That too, I saw that model coming out first in the two-tone version 2 years ago, and I looked at it and I'm like, the case is absolutely amazing. Yes, it's 36 millimeters, but the proportions are just so nice. So and the two-tone exists also with this smooth bezel, obviously exists with the fluted bezel, and last year it came in a full steel one, usual Rolex
So
stuff.
it's a 126.
This reference is 126200 is that particular reference,
right?
So 126200 is the one with the smooth bezel. 126234 is the one with the fluted white gold bezel.
Right.
And that came out last year in full steel, and nobody cared because everybody was raving about the bad girl,
right?
And that's what all the talk was about. And I was like, are we missing something there? Because this, for me, is the best iteration of a Rolex Datejust. It's got a fantastic case. It's 100-meter water resistance. It's got all of the bells and whistles that you expect of the new movement, with the Parachrom hairspring, the Paraflex shock absorber, 70-hour power reserve. The Jubilee bracelet is amazing in its quality. It's the same kind of bracelet you have on the Pepsi or on the Bad Girl GMT right now. You do have the EasyLink option. You do have on this version again this kind of clasp which was missing on the 116 serial, and I thought it was wearing just so nice because it's a 36 millimeter watch, but it really does wear like a 37 or 37 and a half. And yes, it's restrained, it's not it's clearly not a really sporty watch, but I thought it had just so much charisma, and because it's so well built and it has a nice heft to it, I just thought it was phenomenal, and I ended up buying that. So it comes in different dial variations as always for the Datejust. You've got a black dial, you've got a blue dial, a silver, a sunburst dial, and also a white dial with Roman numeral, the white dial one. So you've got quite a a choice of dials. You could choose either a Jubilee or an Oyster bracelet, and you can choose either the fluted bezel, which is a lot more dressy, or this kind of rounded smooth bezel, which I find a little bit sporty. And what I really liked about that is the combination of having something that's a bit more sporty with this bezel, and doesn't shine as much as the fluted bezel. The fluted bezel is very, very nice, but it's very dressy, and you can see it from a mile away, because there's always going to be a part of light that's going to shine against it. It's so much louder and dressier, and I just wanted something that I could wear every day and not necessarily have to worry about. I wanted the Jubilee bracelet because it's so damn comfortable. It's more comfortable objectively than an Oyster bracelet is. But at the same time, the build quality of this generation of Jubilee bracelet is amazing. And
this one has ceramic pins inside.
I think they do, and importantly, all of the links are solid. It's not like they have hollow center links like they used to have, which means that after a period of time, the bracelet would become really loose. So that's not going to happen with this. And again, we talked about wrist size in another episode. I've got 7 inches wrist. This wears extremely well on my wrist. It's objectively not small. It's surely not big, but I would think that this would suit a lot of people for daily wear. Now it's all a question of personal taste. They have evolved over the year. People prefer to have a bigger, chunkier watch, but objectively, this would still look good on many people's wrists, and I think they'd be extremely happy with this. And the good thing is, it's available in any shop, right? So you're not going to have to, sell a kidney or do any of the ridiculous things that some other YouTubers say, as in, go to your Rolex AD and buy him some coffee and bring him some donuts, because therefore he's going to give you a sports model, which...
If that was the only thing to do,
but I don't
do it
know,
every day for a month.
I don't know why people would abase themselves to do something like that to start with, if they have strictly zero pride at all. But this you can get, and I actually got 5% discount on this thing. So there you go. And I just said, hey, can I get a better price? They said, yeah, sure. We can give you 5%, not more, because after that, Rolex won't allow us.
So this and the Oyster Perpetual, which is also a very voluptuous case, but bigger, 39 millimeter. What's good that you also have different choices of options of dial colors.
Yes. So I would think that this one and the Oyster Perpetual, either in 36 and 39 millimeters, are probably the best buy for my taste in the entire Rolex line right now. The Oyster Perpetual 39 is fantastic. It wears great. It wears a bit larger than 39. Wears more like 40 or 40 and a half. I know it's the entry model, but it's got everything that you want in a Rolex in terms of build quality, of the experience you're having, the durability that you're going to be having on this watch, and it's relatively available. There was a time for a year or so that it was more difficult to find, but I think I found them back in retail a few months ago. But even the 36 millimeter, which has a chunkier case than that, the lugs are a little bit thicker. So the Oyster Perpetual 36 probably wears more like a 38 millimeter watch. Okay. And if people are looking for a daily, wear, a daily watch, and they don't necessarily want to have a Datejust because it's a bit too shiny, either with the Jubilee or the center link that is polished on the Oyster bracelet, I really think that people should look at the 36 Oyster Perpetual, especially the one with the blue dial and the Explorer configuration.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you get special dials, and I think the 116 iterations had even more interesting dials. Maybe because it was the end of the run, so they brought out more interesting dials like the tuxedo dials.
So
and
the one
such.
was
So they haven't done it yet with the current 126 references. I think
Yeah.
that there's still a long way to go. It's going to be interesting to see in September if there's a few more
dials.
Datejust dial options for the 41, for the 36, and for the DOP.
Yeah.
I think right now the most interesting is the Wimbledon dial. I'd like to have one in my collection, just for
the Datejust 41, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's just two as well. There's just two. I'm keep on beating myself up for selling my there's just two which I got new old stock last year. The two-tone one with the racing dial, and
Nice.
now actually Paul Thorpe just did a video about racing dials and how hip they're getting, and the prices are getting a bit crazy on those already. I can't, but I want to find back mine. I don't want to buy another one because mine was new old stock with my name on the warranty,
Okay.
and it's just so much more special to have that. So I know who I sold it to. It's a dealer, but keep on looking at his website to see if he's getting it back. Eventually, it will come back. Sometimes you have to wait a year or two for the right stuff. So yeah, you went for the blue dial, and what's nice is that, as you say, it's what you can forget about, which is why I always wear this one, because
so it's my
all
version
I need
of
and I
it.
forget about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or this for that matter.
And we'll talk about this in a second.
What a great trio of watches that you get everything you need: the diver, the GMT, and the dressier option with a color, 3 colors.
But this
I mean, what a lineup!
This I wear when I don't want to have to ask myself the question, what am I wearing today?
Yeah.
It's the one I pick. It's a no-brainer because it doesn't matter what I'm going to be doing during the day. It's going to be appropriate. Now,
So what do I do with the Rolex Explorer?
Exactly. So it's very much like a Rolex Explorer. It's obviously more dressy than a Rolex Explorer. I would argue that this one, if you compare that to the Explorer 36, is probably a tougher watch. Because the movement now has, the shock absorbing technology that they've put inside, a better hairspring, and so forth. So there's nothing that you could do with an Explorer 36 that you couldn't do with this watch. It's built better, objectively, than the and I love, by the way, this is not to knock the Explorer 36.
Of course not.
It's a great watch, but this, I think people are looking at this and they consider it only as a dress watch because it's a 36 mm. But the reality of this is, I go swimming with this, I go to the gym with this, I go to the beach with this. There's nothing that it can't do. It's a tough watch, and Rolexes are sports watches to start with. That's the essence of what they're doing. They're known to make tough, waterproof watches that are extremely stable and easy to maintain, and that lives up to that reputation. That, I think, is bringing the Datejust to the best level it's ever been, and it's probably my favorite iteration of the Datejust ever since they were doing the acrylic crystal ones, 1600 or 16 or 14 series, which is quick set date version of it. That has massive presence to it. I just think they've done such a fantastic job on the case. Likewise on the Oyster Perpetual, I think that the cases are extremely well made. They wear extremely nice, and when people are looking for to start with a Rolex, I'm like, it's a no-brainer, guy. Get yourself an Oyster Perpetual 39 if you want a larger watch, or 36 if you got a smaller wrist and you want something a little bit more restrained. They shouldn't even be asking themselves the question for too long. They are the cheapest ones in the lineup. I think it's $5,300 for the 36. It's $5,700 for the 39. So it's not cheap, but you get everything a Rolex is supposed to be with those models, and I think a lot of people would be extremely happy with them. But likewise, a Datejust, get this one on an Oyster bracelet if you want a look that's a little bit more sporty. I'm actually dying to get an Oyster bracelet for that watch, but Rolex won't sell me one, obviously. And just to change the look of it, you know, and have something that's a bit different sometimes. But for now, I'll be happy to keep this on the Jubilee because it wears so well. And
it's great they offer the different permutations. In my brain, I simulate fluted bezel with Jubilee and Oyster with a smooth bezel. It's kind of like to me they go together. But the Datejust 2 that I had bought had the Oyster bracelet because back then they didn't do the Jubilee.
Yeah.
And it had a fluted bezel, so it was very loud with a very loud dial. But to me, I just had to have it and leave it.
But you know, it's interesting you mentioned the permutation. This watch, when it was sold by the dealer, it had the Oyster bracelet on it.
Aha, the plot thickens.
And then I went and said, look, I love the blue dial, and I love the smooth bezel, but I'd like it on a Jubilee bracelet. Can you order it for me? And then they said, well, I don't need to order it. He just took another one which was coming with a fluted bezel, which was on that Jubilee bracelet, and he just interchanged the two. And I asked him, are you allowed to do this?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, we're perfectly allowed to do this because it's a permutation that exists in the catalog, so they let us do this. So, which is what I find great in those Datejust. You've got to be able to find a combination that works for you, either in the color of the dial, the bezel, or the bracelet. So there's enough choice. And to your point, I'm actually looking forward to see if they're coming with new dials as well. I would love for that to come with the same kind of powder white, silverish dial that there is on the Oyster Perpetual 39. Which I think is just so fantastic because it looks creamy white at some angles, a little bit silver in some other angles. If they did this in that particular watch, I might get it again, probably with a fluted bezel. For instance, what I was looking for is in the 5-digit Datejust reference. What is it? 16220. So it's with a sapphire crystal, and it's got this engine turn bezel. And I'd love to have this on an Oyster bracelet, but I want one on a white dial. You don't find very often the one with the baton style indices and white dial and no.
Tapestry.
One of my best.
That's always very.
One of my best friend has this exact watch.
Cool.
That's really cool. I like that a lot.
I like the tapestry dial.
So, but that's a great reference. That's a great reference too. But for my money, it doesn't hold a candle to what they've done with this. It's just a better watch.
That's the thing. I think a lot of people are weighing between the 116 references or the vintage ones, and then what stops them is that the new ones, the 126. You know, they bring it all together, the great movement, longer power reserve, the Jubilee, better Jubilee bracelets. It's just hard to beat, and you still get the same vibe.
Yeah, and day to day, usability. Again, you wear a shirt, it's great. You wear a polo, it's great.
And if you wear nothing, it's still great.
It's still great, yeah.
Let's move on, and we're going to talk about the Rolex Explorer 2 Polar dial in the next video.